Okay, the greatest common factor of the terms of a polynomial is the largest factor. Now here's the deal. That is confusing because largest is not necessarily the largest that you're going to see. It's the largest that goes into each of the terms. So it actually ends up being not the largest number you see in one list. It's going to be the largest number you see that is in common in both lists. And so I am going to do this kind of a long way, and then I'm going to do it a short way. Some of you might need to do it the long way. Okay. So if I wanted to find the GCF of 4x to the fourth and y, I'm going to write this all out. Okay. So I'm going to think of this 4 as 2 times 2 times x times x times x times x times y. I'm going to do this the long way to explain what I'm doing. And then later on, I'm going to just show you how hopefully you know what that means. Does that make sense that that is what that is expanded? Okay. If I was doing 8, couldn't I write this as 2 times 2 times x times x times x times y? Agreed? Nope. Birdie, I need another 2, don't I? Squeeze another 2 in there. Thank you. Birdie, it's first hour and I haven't had all my coffee. All right. Let's circle things they have in common. They have 1, 2 in common. Don't they also have a second 2 in common? Agreed? I circled a 2 and another 2. I better use a different color because yellow doesn't show up well. 2. All right, what's 2 times 2? Well, in common. So no, because this one only has 2 2's. So we're only circling things that are on both lists. Okay, so I circled the 2, and then the 2 again is 2 times 2 is 4. So the biggest number that goes into 4 and 8 is 4. Okay. Let's circle all of the x's in common. So I have 3 on this list. I have more on this list, but they would have in common just 3. Do they have any y's in common? How many factors of y? 1. Okay. What we just circled there is the greatest common factor. Okay, so we put it all together. The greatest common factor is 2 times 2, or 4x to the, we've circled 3 of them, y. Okay, so that's what I'm doing, but some of you could have looked at 4 and 8 and you didn't need to write out the 2 times 2 times. Do you know what I'm saying? But that's what's going on with the x's. Sometimes people with the variables find that helpful to write it all out. All right, you tell me. Let's look at the number part. Let's see if we can do it without writing it out. If you can't, then I'll write it out for you. What's the highest number that goes into all 3? 2, 10, and 6. Only a 2. Sometimes you're going to find that there's no number, just a 1 that goes in. All right, so we know that the number part is 2. If it helps you, write out this. X to the fourth means that. X squared means that. This has just 1 x. I can only circle 1 because this one has only 1 x. So the greatest common factor is just 2x. So the GCF on this one, I should label what I'm finding, is 4x cubed y, and the GCF on this one is 2x. Okay, how are we doing here? Okay. So that's GCF. How do we factor? We literally are going to divide them off. Okay. I'm going to once again show you the long way, and then I'll show you the short way. So let's say I was writing out the 20 and the 10. I can kind of see what they have in common. Does anybody know? 20 and 10? What to go higher? 10. Yeah, but you can think of this if you want as writing out 2 times 2 is 4 times 5, right? And 10 is 2 times 5. Agreed? So don't they have 2 times 5 in common, which is 10, but some of you don't need to write that part out. Let's write out the variables. This has a U and a U and a V. This has just a U and a V and a V. And those are similar letters, so don't get confused by that. All right, so we're going to circle the 2 times 5. They have 10 in common. How many U's can I circle? Just 1. And how many V's can I circle? Just 1. Okay, so the GCF I'm going to leave some room here because then we're going to do our division, okay? The GCF is 10 UV. And so when we are dividing, and remember a second ago we were doing things and we were multiplying, and do you remember what we saw? I'll give you a hint. I'm making the symbol with my hands. We saw parentheses. So when we divide, we're like reversing those parentheses, okay? So this 10 UV is going to come out, and we're going to put parentheses there, and we're going to figure out what happens when I divide off 10 UV. All right, so we're going to divide it off this, and then we're going to divide it off this. We're doing division, reversing the multiplication. All right, let's cancel off the 2 times 5 and the 10. We're going to cancel off a U and a V. What remains? 2 what? 2U. So 20U squared V divided by 10U is 2U. If you want to check if you did it right, multiply 10UV times 2U. Don't you get what that first term is? If you multiply this times this, you get 20U squared. Okay, divide off the 2 times 5 and the 10, divide off a U, divide off 1V. What's left on the second expression? V. So this is minus V. So this is how we factor. I call it the factorization, is up here. Okay, you'll get the hang of it. Let's do some more. I'm not going to do it the long way. I'm going to just use my brain.
So you would solve that?
No, we don't. Because, Haley, this is like what we did yesterday. It's like I'm giving you the end result and I'm asking you to go backwards. Okay? So what your things are going to look like today is a parentheses. Okay? If you want to check your answer, you can multiply them and they should be what you started with. All right, we got a 4, we got an 8, we got a 2. GCF is of the numbers 2. Okay, so I'm going to leave some space here, so a 2. Remember, x to the 4th means x, 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 x. How many x's can I take out of all of them? Good, x squared. This has a y, this has a y, that does not have a y. So guess what? I cannot take y out. All right, so then we make our parentheses. And up above here, let's just divide each of these by 2x squared. So I'm going to go just pieces at a time. What's 4 divided by 2? 2. And then x to the 4th divided by x squared is x squared, and I still need that y in there. All right, 8 divided by 2, isn't that 4? X cubed divided by x squared is x to the 1st, and we still need that y in there. Okay, and then how about this one? They do, but be careful, when you divide something by itself, it's not 0, it's 1. So this would give me -1. Okay, let's find the GCF together, and then I'm going to have you do the factoring part. 2, 10, and -6. 2. X 4 factors. I don't want to say 4x because it's not 4x, it's x to the 4th. 4 factors of x, 2 factors of x, 1 factor of x. I can only take 1 out. All right, would you guys do the division for me? And I'll give you a second and then we'll check in. Hey, a little reminder, remember when you're doing exponent rules, x is the same as x to the first, okay? Okay, moment of truth. Would you check and see if that's what you got?
How do you guess? Yeah.
What's x to the 4th divided by x to the 1st? When you're dividing, you're not dividing the exponents, you're dividing x to the 4th by x to the 1st. So that means this divided by this, cancel 1, what's left? Okay? The rule for exponents is when you do division, you subtract the exponents.
But how come there's no exponent all those? Like not a square.
Because what's x squared divided by x? X to the 1st. All right. Let's try one with a negative because I want to talk about that. If you have a negative leading coefficient, usually, because you could do a positive or a -4 on this one, doesn't 4 go into 12 and 16? Yes. So, but when it's a negative out in front, typically, I wouldn't mark it wrong either way, but typically the most proper thing is to make the 4 negative so that that leading term isn't negative. So I'm going to take out a -4, so that we'll get rid of that in a second. X cubed. Do you know where you are? X cubed, x squared, x. What can I take out? 1x. Can I take the y out? No. Okay. Let's try it. I'll do it with you. -4 divided by -4 cancels. X cubed divided by x to the 1st, subtract the exponents, is x squared y. 12 divided by -4 is -3. X squared divided by x is x to the 1st, and then we need a y. And -16 divided by -4 is +4, and x divided by x is, you could think of it as x to the 0, it's just 1. So we don't write in times 1, because 4 times 1 is just 4. Okay.